man, yes, let's get this going. Yes, we are back. We are back. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Second One Sports Media. We are here with Hillcrest legend himself. I call him Uncle She, but you all know him as decorated amateur Rashid Heyman. And we are here with one of the purest of the pure boxing reporters who's always been a fighter's reporter. You know how you have a player coach similar to that in this game. I've always loved this guy because when he come around the fight, he's gonna keep it honest with you, but he's not with a lot of the biases with a lot of reporters. He's for the fighters. He's gonna tell the truth for the fighters. Let's give it up for Mr. James from the Boxing Source, y'all.
What's
Oh
up,
man, this
Steve?
is dope.
What's up?
I
What's
missed
that?
y'all, man. I've been away doing stuff. I missed it, man, bro. Oh, what did Marty say? Bring it in.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man,
What's
so
happening?
what you been doing, Mr. James? What's been going on?
It's just been a lot. Looking at this is like the first month of 2025, and people are talking about what's going on in the sport of boxing. A lot of fights have been coming up. A lot of fights been talked about, and the schedule has been laid out. And so me being in boxing media, you try to make a number of these events. So whether it's local events in the DMV area, last weekend I was out in Philadelphia for a fight card in Philadelphia. That was on bxngtv.com. It also had, of course, sharpshooter Greg Outlaw was on that fight card. So
Yeah.
we have to, check him out. And Tierra Brown and Liana Cruz.
Yes.
So
My teammate.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I was out there for that fight card. And also coming up next week, you got David Benavidez versus David Morrell Jr. and I plan on being out there for fight week for that. So you got a number of fight cards going up back to back to back, and I'm gonna try to make as many of them as I can because that's gonna be last weekend, this weekend, 2 weeks from now in New York, and then a month from now in New York. So that pretty much tells you
You a busy man.
yeah.
Oh man, well you guys. Oh man, I did all that. I ain't introduce myself. Uncle She put me in the hot seat, y'all. I'm gonna be hosting today. You know, y'all know me as your friendly neighborhood golden boy, Don Hollingsworth II, Hillcrest bloodline. Son of Don Hardwork Hollingsworth and nephew to the Mr. Body Snatcher himself, Ernesto Rodriguez, man. So speaking of T Baby and Greg, they had spectacular wins over the weekend. Greg came in, did every time this guy go anywhere, he got a whole mob with him.
Yeah.
And I really want to see that guy get his just because I'm so proud of Greg because sometimes it gets hard to sell tickets consistently.
Yeah,
It could get hard sometimes. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it for years. What I used to see growing up and still see is guys get man, remember I did this for you? Man, at least let me get a free ticket. And they don't know that come out the fighter purse.
Yeah.
And the thing is you got some guys, I remember one fight I was around and a lot of times, unless you're a fighter or you're a media, you're not going to the fight by yourself. They always gonna bring a best friend, your homie. Let's go watch the fight. Or you bring in your lady, and y'all get dressed up and go to the fights. Mm-hmm. So I remember one fighter I knew. They always got to sell 2 tickets. So sometimes he had to give away 2 tickets, and say, "Yo, just pay for next month. Pay for next month." And a lot of people stood up on it and paid it, but Greg always got loyal team. I mean, they be out there. Very similar to my teammates Trey Pound, Irvin Fuller, and also Frankie Scarborough. When that Scarborough Nation get this chant, Lord Jesus, you be like, I don't want no problems. Yep. But Greg, man, he go to New York, he go to Philly, he go everywhere. They packed. They following him. And that's my thing. I'm like, this kid is shown up no matter what. he should be, in my opinion, higher. Matter of fact, I'm gonna Google right now. What is his ranking right now? But what do you guys think about not only his performance, but his overall progression and where it could lead him? What do you think he should be? Should he have been gotten a shot? Because I feel like he's been polished. Mr. Rishi, let's start with you on that.
I really like Greg's style. I think one thing I have to commend of him is he overcame adversity with that defeat. He it never deterred him from uh,
Yeah.
still reaching the goal. That represents the old school mentality of boxing, where undefeated does not stop you from still being great. And that's one thing about Greg that I do like, is how this is like this third fight after that defeat that I bear witness to, and he has still got better and better. It's like it never happened. That's how it looks to me, like as though it never
Mm-hmm.
actually happened with him. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely proud to see what I'm seeing. And he closed the show up there, and was that Philly? Was it in Philly at
Yeah.
2300?
Yeah,
Yeah,
2300.
yeah,
2300.
2300.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that spot. I think we need something like that here in this area. It's not that big. It's like perfect size. Like
Yeah,
and
yeah. It's
it's
not.
perfect for a fighter on those
Mm-hmm.
levels that's growing, right? You see?
Mm-hmm.
So 23 is a great atmosphere. Philly got him one with that arena there, man. It's a place to see, man. But Greg definitely went up there, and he let him know that he's back full fledged.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Source, what you think?
I mean, I had a conversation with him, before this fight. But like she was talking about, it's something for him to turn around and come back from that crushing loss, because it was not only like it was like a KO loss, but it was during his G day and stuff like that. So that makes it a completely different thing to try to turn around and come back from. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing for him was that he was able to get another fight 4 months later,
Yes.
to get him right back in the mix. And that's the one thing that I stress to a lot of fighters all the time, is that you want to try to be as active as possible, because it's nothing like being in the ring, multiple times in the year, than sitting it out for a long time, and that type of stuff, where you're out for like 8 months, 12 months, or something like that. It's completely different. So for him to get right back in the ring and get right back at it, get himself a quick KO win, and then still follow that up by staying active.
Mm-hmm.
Like another 3 months or 4 months after, like the gap wasn't that much further than 4 months. So he's in the gym, then he's in a fight, then he's
Yes,
back in the
indeed.
and back in a fight. And so when you have that, that's how you're able to sharpen your skills. Whether you're in the gym or you're in these fights, and you're able to make sure that you're more comfortable with what you do, what your style is, and everything like that. So that's on one front for him to build himself to the point where he's able to be the like I said, the NBA champion, as he was there with that win over Jada Burgos, right? And the other thing you were talking about, as far as like him being a ticket seller, listen,
Yes,
who
Lord.
we call, who we call a Big C, right? Big C be pushing them tickets, and
Man, what?
he pushing
Man, Miss, man,
tickets.
what?
I'm like, goodness,
You
like,
talk about having a mama and
hey,
only get one? What?
yeah, like, and I mean, like, I'll put it this way, like, for the fight card, like, I had a friend, like, longtime friend, from Florida. We've been friends since we were out in Florida, and
Mm-hmm.
he's staying around here in the same area as where we're at, right? And he hit me up about that fight card, and like he said, like he was trying to get tickets, and he told me, like, at the time it was like 2 or 3 weeks before, whatever it is, he tried to call up 2300 and say, hey, them tickets about done. So the only way
Wow.
to get a ticket was to get in contact with Big C
With-
in order to get
Wow.
Hmm.
things from her. So the thing is like she, whether it's 2300 or Entertainment and Sports Arena, or of course Bowie State University, or like hey, even when he was over at Harris in one of them last fights, it definitely able to push some tickets. So with that type of following, like you could still see him having these type of fights in order to build himself to the level where he could go, to the next step up there. Because when I talked to him before this fight took place, they said, "Hey, we got this thing going where we have sharpshooter promotions." So
Yeah.
if he was able to do that card at Bowie State University, that was part of the thing there with sharpshooter promotions. So he had a whole
Hmm.
team, not just Big C, but got a publicist, PR, all of that.
Yes, he got all that.
All of that right now. So he is like moving towards that, step by step, get himself to the level where he's like, okay, once I get these fights out the way, then I can present myself as a serious contender. And I could also say to these other promoters, like, hey, look, this is the numbers that I bring to all of these events. So if you want me to be involved in this fight card, you might have to, come up with, something a little more in order for, all of these fans to come into your venue. So that's the whole thing. That's why he started the sharpshooter promotions, because he sees the value that he has with the number of people that he brings to these fight cards and the support that he has. So it's going to be crazy to see like what moves he's going to make here in 2025.
Lord, this my thing. Especially these days with social media and everything, you can't just win. I always tell people. I remember, for example, I never forget when Paulie Malignaggi was about to fight Adrian Broner. Remember they were getting into it at the Barclays, going back and forth with Jonah, and that clip's still up on YouTube. And Adrian was trying to like gloat. He was like, yeah, he was yelling, talking about he get stopped and all this other stuff, and he started to gloat about who he was. And Paulie said, there's dozens of you in every gym around the world, but they fall through the cracks. And so for people to understand, there's always a top guy at the gym. There's always a guy who, does very well, has a good record, but they wind up not getting their shot that they deserve. And some of the first things I heard, I'll never forget, I'm not going to say the promoter's name, but it was a big time foreign promoter. He said, I was sending them all my friends. He said, man, these guys, you get them signed, I see we'll side you sign with us. And ever since these fighters, and everyone you get signed, you'll get a bonus like sent to you for each one you sign, right? I didn't care about that. I just want my friends on, because I see how hard they work. So I'm like mentioning different guys. And one of the friends that I mentioned, he said, nah. And I'm like, why you keep saying no to everybody? These dudes can fight, and I can break it down. And I was honest. I'm an honest person. Even if every fight I showed him, I said, nah, this one, he's really good, but he hasn't turned that corner as a professional yet. He got to sharpen up as a professional. Oh, this one right here, he's good. He's really good. Got good body point, gonna bring it. Talks well in interviews, but he has to mature. Don't sign him yet. Just keep your eye on. Wait till he gets to 11-0. He's 7-0 right now. He has to mature a little more outside the ring. Like I'm telling him, straight biz. And he said, I never get what he said. He said, nah. He said, Junior, stop. All these guys can fight. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, they all can fight, but they don't have the it factor I need. I need it. I'm like, it factor, they undefeated, and they got at least 4 game guys on their record. Out of the one guy was 13-0, and out of that 13-0, at least 4 of those fights were like good guys. And he said, no, can't do. I need to sign. And sometimes the biggest thing you hear is, oh, I need them to sell more tickets. Perfect example. I'll never forget when Jared Kick was creeping through the door. People forget. They think him fighting Frank Galarza, he was on PBC. He was on PBC long before that fight. He was with PBC at least 2 fights before the Frank Galarza fight. He was on the off TV fights. Then when he fought Galarza, I remember telling him, and he was, I think he told this story once. He said, "Yeah, we knew I wasn't the guy, but and I told him in the dressing room at Hillcrest, I said, bro, I ain't even trying to put you because remember Frank Galarza was in line for a title shot. He had already beat everybody, knocking out everybody. So Jerry's supposed to be the last guy. Like, oh, this guy can fight a little bit, got some size, help you tune up for what we about to put you in next for the title. And this guy got people that travel for him, and he can fight. Oh, yeah, it's a good fight because they knew Jared was gonna bring. He was gonna bring the pockets with him to the fight. And when you look at a guy like Greg Outlaw, it's like he checks all the boxes. He's turned the corner as a professional. He's gotten better. He's done everything that you can want. Checklist as a pro. Plus, he can sell the hell out of a fight without doing much. He gonna make sure them buzzers in the seats. Give the boy a shot. You give him the NABA gold, and it's like this. In my personal opinion, right now, he's ranked in the United States 21. Yes, 21.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that boy should be fighting for WBA Intercontinental. At the least. At the least, he should be getting a call to fight for the WBA Intercontinental. I'm saying that honestly. I really feel like just so he can finish kicking in the door and get to where I really honestly believe he deserves to be. And two, if this was 40 years ago, we would be commending him more. Because some of these folks say, oh, well, you lost. So I remember old timers telling me you don't know what a guy is until you done seen him hurt. Or you seen him, style or different things. This boy got right back in the ring. Some guys don't even get in they take a whole year off. Some dudes take 9 months off. This was right back in the ring. Handling his business. So it just that bothers me because I've watched him really, really turn that corner as a professional. Like I never forget my dad said, he said, when you see guys get ready, you start to see. I never forget on that said, it's not that you fighting tomato cans, it's how you get rid of them. Because of course you're supposed to stop the tomato can, but where are you getting better at? Like, oh, his body shot's getting better. He's bending his knees more. 4 fights ago, he was not bending his knees though. This shot, little things like that. Like, oh, this time he didn't just run to the guy because the guy was hurt. He took his time and walked to him. Then he controlled him and pivoted and knocked his glove down. Then boom, boom, boom. Those little things. And this kid has done it. Then when you talk about having resilience, he got caught cold. In my opinion, when he lost that fight, he just got caught cold early. And he couldn't recover. It happens. Sometimes you get caught cold early, and that just happens. Things like that happen since the dawn of time in boxing, and it's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
But that kid that he lost to, when he went into the fight with Shooter, he was Angulo. He's 7-1. He's 8-1 now. I think he's 8-2 now, 8-1 now.
8-2.
He just let's go back and look real quick. I'm on his box rep. 22-15 opponent. 12-0 opponent. 8-1 opponent. And then you know what the next thing people say is, oh well, who did them guys beat? Dude, they making their way up the ladder. But he's taking these guys. He fought Tyrone Crawley when Tyrone Crawley was 7-1-1. He then let's go down. He fought Mac Allison. 8-1 at the time. Daniel Murphy. Daniel Murray. I remember that. Oh, dang, Daniel, I remember that guy. 3-1. Then let's go to after it's like been on a 5-fight win streak. He lost the fight in July of 23, came back in November of 23, then fought in March of 24, June of 24, October of 24.
I remember.
You get what I'm saying? And then let's go to the records here.
Right? Like he had the fight in October, right? And I think it was before that, right? He had an injury.
Yep. Oh, I forgot about that. Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, he had an
I forgot about that.
So he was coming off of that injury and having those couple fights. So that's another thing too, because it's like when you get recover from an injury like that, you kind of subconsciously worry about that, coming back up while you're fighting or while you're training. And he was able to, go through that and still, score those wins. So
And last thing before we wrap up on Greg, I remember he taught me something at Slip Encounter. He came in and um he was teaching me about a trick to do when I had the injury, and he was telling me about he had something similar, and I never forgot that. And it was so I was like, oh wow, that make a lot of sense. So but just the fact of how he's taking care of his body, and it was just I just really would like to see him get his flowers. I really would, man. I really like to see him get the justice because I really believe that this kid he should already have what I believe he deserves, and you can't take it away from him. But also, as we move on, T baby, woo child, Lord, mm-mm. And I was in, that's I was a camp with her, you know, and I wasn't in camp as much this camp because I was in school, but. And I know people going like, well, where you grew up in y'all grew up together in the gym and da 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 da. Nah, it ain't got nothing to do with it. I got her stopping Scott because I'm sorry. She hit too hard and she's gonna walk. Scott don't throw a lot of punches and she always moving. Now the thing you always gotta worry about is that sneaky flush, like Jaime Mugia, that sneaky flush, one flush shot that from a guy who doesn't have a lot of power, all of a sudden you buzz. But besides, you gotta still give somebody that. But besides that, only thing I'm worried about, she get robbed. I'm gonna be so honest with you, and it's so long. That's another one that's long overdue. Is
yeah,
T Baby, man, because T Baby, Lord Jesus, I just hope that because I really feel like she got a dog walk. She got to stop this girl. Like she has to drop her and like really have her pillow the post. Back in the day when they used to say the fighter stopped the fight, the referee didn't. It has to be that type of fight, or it has to be um she beat the champ and she had to beat the champ real bad. Because back then, if you didn't take the title from the champ, you lost off the rip.
When is
You
that
know,
fight? When is that fight again?
it's gonna
March.
be
I
March
think it's
20,
March.
March.
March
Yep, it's
22nd.
already in stone.
They,
That's
they,
good.
they just
He
confirmed
deserves
that March 22nd.
March 22nd.
Yeah,
Mm,
because
mm, mm.
that was the thing. It was it was funny because the week before the fight, it's like Sky was talking trash on social media and all
Yes,
that stuff. And then
yes.
you know what? Charges went in 2300, handled the business. And then after that, like I think, yeah, I didn't see anybody like that was the thing about media stuff because I didn't see like anybody as far as like media coverage for that fight card except for photographers basically, which I pretty much was going in there for, right? So
Mm, mm, mm.
after a fight, you had Mark Abrams there, for the thing for BXNG TV talking with her, and that's when they initially announced that hey, they're going to have that fight for March. So I'm like, okay, yeah, there we go, bet it's on, right? But then I, talked with a trainer and everything, and I said, yo, I gotta have a conversation with her. And yeah, she was just telling them like, hey, y'all thought that I wasn't gonna sign. Y'all tried to lowball me and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He
And
jumped
hey,
on it. That's
hold
smart.
on, let me see something. I wanted to try to cue something up. Let me see if I can do it real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, man, they try to do that baby dirty, man. They try to do T baby dirty.
Yeah. Let me see here, man, because I'm gonna try it here because I got the joint
Sometimes
here.
you gotta take them low balls because they be trying to
Yeah,
trying to
Mm-hmm.
trying to
that be the
bid you
joint,
out.
right? That be the joint. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
see here.
When
We
somebody
got this
hungry and
thing
they want
going.
it, they do it.
If you could cue it up,
Okay, I
man.
put it.
Shout DMV Nation in the building. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, I was able to talk with her. So she had to bring that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And you're able to get that work in, get the decision win here, and then you announce here, with Mark Abrams in the ring. Hey, March, it's on now. It's on now. Yeah, it's on. Yeah, because Scott was talking. She was certainly talking. I'm like, hold on. How you gonna post this on Twitter?
Talk all she wants to, but this is the best 126 female fighter in the world
on the planet.
On the
Mm-hmm.
planet. So how she gonna talk about a contract when well, first of all, she knew that you were getting ready for a fight. That's number one. And then number two, when you weren't preparing for a fight, she wasn't saying nothing.
Wasn't saying anything. And then, oh, I took the contract 2 weeks ago. Girl, I'm fighting this weekend. Make it make sense. But guess what? We called your bluff, Sky. Because, yeah, we got the contract. And now I can focus on you and on you alone.
Wow.
You called your bluff. You want to lowball me. You thought I was going to say no to the contract for the pennies that you're throwing. But guess what, boo? I didn't. And we coming. We coming for you.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Australia in March. Hey, Sky, you better get ready because the Dark Menace is about to take over. That's what's gonna happen there. So
I'm about to take her will to go on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna snatch her soul and her spirit right out of her body. She thinks it's a game. She done all that talk on Instagram, on Twitter. Your fans cannot fight for you. Eddie Hearn cannot fight for you. And I guarantee you, you've never fought anybody like me before. Never. Because when I get to you, all that running you gonna do, we all know. When I put my hands on you, you're gonna wish you never got in the ring with me. Period.
Exactly. And you're gonna represent of course you're from your area of Florida and everything like that too. And you know what's going down. Hey, I've been there since pretty much your debut and everything like that. So I see you like get working your way up all the way to this particular level. And I know you definitely go take advantage in March.
Some people have to go the long and the tough route. Not everybody is spoon fed. Not everybody is handed things when they don't deserve it. But guess what? It made me to the person I am today. I'm a dog walking off the floor with Scott.
Yeah, for sure. And we definitely go see what's going to happen there in March. Thank you very much here for taking the time to speak with the Boxing Source. And right back in the gym, right back to work. And
yes,
it's time
indeed.
to handle some business. Yeah. For sure.
Wow. Yeah, that was a good
Oh,
one.
Lord. Soundbite.
Yeah. March 22nd, yo.
Yes, indeed. I'm glad you had that, brother. That was a good one, man.
Yeah. I was like, nobody. Yeah, I didn't really notice anybody out there in Philly that was, doing media stuff there. So I had to catch up with Tierra after that.
Yes, indeed.
Because the only other person that I knew was Mark, and Mark was, working the mic after the fight. So I'm like, yeah, had to do it. And now, yeah, she's gonna be right back in the gym and be ready to go and making that trip to Australia for March 22nd. I know it's a whole little matchroom card, they got Eddie Hearn side chick. Fighter, Scott Nicholson on there. They got George Kambosos Jr. There's gonna be a headline in the fight card, but that fight right there, oh yeah, yeah, Scott has no idea.
I look forward to that, man. I'm glad she kind of bait her in a good spot because she was like, oh, she didn't think she was going to sign that. She signed that thing.
Yeah.
She tried to talk about, oh God,
where's the pen? And then Tiara had done a video talking about pen. Oh, I got a whole bunch of pens right here. So
wow,
she was definitely ready for that.
Wow. So that's good because she tried because she probably knew she had to fight too, didn't she?
Yeah.
Most people that have a fight, they be like, I ain't thinking about that next fight, and then lowball her. But sometimes the title, she understands that those opportunities are not going to always be there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brilliant on her part to make such move like that, man.
She pulled a Lamont Peterson.
Yeah. Lamont said, I'm gonna take what I can get. I need this title first and foremost. Yep. That's all I'm worried about first and foremost is a title. What's up, brother? DMV Nation. I see he had commented. What time that was at 9:30. What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
This is my thing. Is that I don't believe that Scott could keep T Baby. Over, I done seen T Baby do just hit too hard, knows how to place her, and she does beautiful body work. And I don't think Scott throw enough punches or feet her fast enough to keep T Baby turn. T Baby, know who she remind me of without the bounce? Tito Trinidad. Because when she hits you, you know about it. Everything is plotted and set.
Yeah, like
and she can move a little bit with the waist a little
yeah,
better
right. Basically, yeah,
she
it's
move a
like
little better off the waist than Tito did.
mm-hmm.
But she could place the body shot, and she's been in there with so many good girls, and she's been in there with so many good guys that she gets in there
enough.
with girls and just walks them down.
That's
And I
enough.
just really I don't want her to get, I just don't want her to get robbed. That girl deserves a fair shake. She really does, man. And I just want to see her shake out and do her thing. Cause Lord knows you're talking about, oh, I send you a contract. She played a lot of games with T Baby. And it was always some nonsense.
Yeah, it
And
was.
it's like, it was so unnecessary, and it almost to the borderline for me being around the game for so long. Like, these ain't even mind games. This is just stupid. This is
It
stuff
was.
like almost like you scared almost, but you never call fight scared, but you weary of her. Like you were weary of T Baby. Or
Mhm.
if Sky's not, her team is, or whoever her handlers are slightly weary of T Baby. That's what it looked like to me. So, and looking at the fight, I'm just like, bro, I just hope she don't get no Pernell Whitaker treatment
Mm.
if it goes to
So,
decision.
so back in July, they had the fight card at Wells Fargo Center with Boots there where he faced David Evansian, and Sky was part of that fight card and had a fight against Diana Vargas. Was an easy win for her, but at that time, like they knew that Tiara Brown was like one of the fighters that she had to fight eventually.
Mm-hmm.
But it was either Tiara Brown or Raven Chapman. Now, after the fight, in the post-fight presser, both of those names were mentioned. Guess who she ended up fighting first? Raven Chapman. Right. So I'm like, if you were really about facing Tiara Brown, then you could have fought her like right off the rip. Then why go over to Riyadh and have the fight with Chapman first?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good point.
like you said there, like Sky does not have the foot movement to really like get off the line,
Yeah.
and
That's gonna be a
with
problem for
Sierra
her.
being that come forward and be
Like the whip.
precise with
Yeah.
the punches, she's just gonna wear it down.
Okay, last thought before we wrap this topic up. With T Baby, first, like I said, it plays a big factor that she don't spar so many guys. If she gets in there with girls, and a lot of times she ain't got to do the stuff I know she can do. She just walk you down. But also, she knows how to sit on her punches, and she does superb body work. She does beautiful body work. While knowing, this is the thing, I already know they're going to negotiate that ring be huge. I already see it coming. Secondly, when my father always taught me this, shout out hard work. When you go out there, remember when Tank was on Gillian Wallow and everybody made all these casual fools made it so obvious when like, oh my God, Tank just be getting hit on purpose? Man, that dude a goon. Man, he this and that. All because Uncle She and Source Tank said, yeah, when I go out there, I want to get hit first or like see what I'm dealing with. Because how the old timers taught me, including my dad, is when you walk out there, first, my dad told me when the first round, the first bell ring, never walk directly to a guy. Because you could walk into something and don't follow a guy. Because you get caught for something because it's early and you don't want to get caught cold. And also don't never run to nobody straight to somebody because it's a straight shot you're running into.
Yeah,
But when you go out there and you walk and then you circle for a second, I've always said, don't slip nothing at first. Another one, James Baker told me, you got nice slipping. What you slipping though for? Why you doing so early? You know, pick it first. See what you're dealing with. Because you don't know until you pick it. Pick the first shot, pick the first shot to see what type of pie you dealing with. Once you catch the first shot, it's like, dang, if they got a good jab, it's like, dang, that jab feel like that. I sure don't want to get hit with that right hand. Because then you know how to move. So When Tia go out there and I don't see Scott, I watch Scott Nicholson fight. They try to get on T Baby's amateur career. T Baby was one. Well, I forget. It's been so long. I forgot how many points, but few points shy of being on the Olympic team. Let's keep it real. Like she was one of them. She's on a few of them women team posters from back then. Where USA bandana on. I know that T Baby. So when she goes out there and when you got a girl like T Baby, you gotta be able to double roll, use her walking against her and pivot out. And I don't see Scott doing that. Like grab her on the waist as you pivot and move her, and then go out. Change the direction. Going this way, about side to side. Boom, go back over and go back over this way. Side to side, side to side. Walk and then step back over, turn back to the left. You got to give them a double move so your feet not set. Because once them feet are set, she hits you with something, you going to know about it. And I got T-Baby, once she catch you, okay, I caught that. And T-Baby, boom, hitting her in the shoulder, hitting her at the top of the head. And then all of a sudden she walked through to drop her body shot. All of a sudden it looked like she coming straight ahead because she walking like this. Next thing you know, she go, boom. Now she on the opposite shoulder. Boom, boom, boom. It's gonna take a lot out of her. But when that fight come, oh my goodness, it's gonna be. I got her stopping her because I think T Baby's gonna understand the urgency of this fight.
Mm-hmm.
But whew, I just don't want her to get robbed. That's it. I just want her to get a fair shake. That's all I want.
Word. I mean, we got Kambosos. Kambosos in the main event. He's like a mover too. So yeah, they're gonna to be like 24 by 20.
Something absurd.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We gotta go into this. So what y'all think about that Morrell versus Benavidez next week? What y'all think about that David Benavidez and David Morrell? Because I got the ring shaking that night. I got the ring shaking and the roof shaking that night.
I don't
see. Uncle C, we're gonna go to you first.
I don't see it going 12.
I don't see it either, brother James. I don't see it going 12 either. I think it's for some reason it's a good fight. I'm glad these guys took that fight. This one of them fights, man. I think this like a Hagler.
Yeah, Hagler Hearns.
Yeah. The Beast Mugabe, more like that to me, and then Hagler.
Good point. Oh man,
two known killers. You know what I'm saying? Those two, even though Hearns was a killer too, but Hearns had some weaknesses. Neither one of these guys got weaknesses. They ain't been knocked out. They both undefeated.
And look at the names you just said, Uncle Sheed. Let's unpack that. You said Marvin Hagler, and you said John the Beast Mugabe.
Yeah.
If you really unpack that, David Benavidez would kind of be Hagler because of the punches and bunches. Don't wear you down, just break you down. And Mugabe could be Dane Morrell because what was Mugabe going into the Hagler fight? He was 26-0 with 26 by KO.
Exactly.
Exactly. He was breaking guys down.
Exactly. My point exactly. So I'm saying the matchup itself of how the two competitive styles. But I think the punches and bunches is gonna cause my guy to get caught with some shots because I think Morrell gonna time him. He's gonna time him with right hands, and he ain't just gonna be able to. We used to my guy usually overpowering people with his size. This guy's the height difference is probably about what, an inch or two, or about the same.
Let's double check.
Let's
double check.
It's less than about an inch, I think.
It's around the same, 6'1" and 6'2".
Yeah,
exactly.
So yeah.
Go ahead, Source. Bring it. Come on.
Well, the thing is, for this one, this is kind of a fight where, well, one, I'm gonna just preface this by saying that I'm biased, but when I'll give you the history of this. Both of these
Mm-hmm.
fighters were, competing in the super middleweight division, of course, right? And when Morrell had won the WBA regular, as they say, the regular title against Lennox Allen in 2020, that's when the Benavidez team initially approached Morrell's team about having that fight. But they said, no, not yet. Let's have them, have a few more fights within super middleweight, and then we could revisit it. So they said, okay, cool. But they didn't necessarily revisit it. But while that was happening, like, you got a guy in David Morrell Jr. that's winning a WBA title in his third professional fight against a guy that's 22-0-1. And now he's fighting guys that are 26-3, 28-2 in Alonte's fights, right? Or like, and then you have what happened in 2022 with Morrell against Yobasanuli. Yeah, it was, a bad day for Tony Weeks overall, but just to see what, Morrell was doing in that fight, it was just absolutely crazy. And so when you got a guy in Morrell where it's like, yeah, some of these fans that are looking on the outside saying that, oh, he has 11 pro fights, 9 of those wins by way of knockout, but just 11 pro fights. In addition to a David Benavidez who has the amount of fights that he has. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And this is what Coach Ronnie Shields said.
Yeah.
Wait, how are you saying this now when David Morrell was facing guys that were, as I mentioned, 22-0,
Facts.
or 26-3,
Facts.
or 28-2 within his first 6 or 7 fights?
Facts.
So that to David Morrell is nothing. But the other thing with David Morrell is like, we mentioned in that they tried to get this fight when Morrell was around 3-0 and 4-0. So
Yeah.
Morrell already had in his mind that, oh, he wants to face me. Okay, cool. Watch me build myself up to the point to where I'm like, okay, you really want me? Cool. Let's go. So what happened was you had David Morrell in that Tank versus Ryan fight card in 2023. Yeah. Initially, he was supposed to fight Senag Beko, but then he fought Yamaguchi Falcao and just walked through him.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, I hear David Benavidez here. David, hey, David, hey, I'm ready for you. I'm ready for you. Where you at? Where you at? So he's been waiting for this fight for years. And talking with Coach Ronnie, having the last conversation with him yesterday, I'm telling you, David Morrell is like really ready for this fight. And the thing about it is for David Benavidez, and I mentioned this earlier, I said it's going to be interesting because you got David Benavidez going into this big fight against David Morrell, a huge fight, one of probably the biggest fight in the light heavyweight division, second to the rematch with Beterbiev and Bivol coming up next month. But you got Jose Benavidez Sr. that's getting Diego Pacheco prepared for his fight against Steven Nelson at the Cosmopolitan that's happening on Saturday. So how are you handling these two fights of this magnitude that are very important fights in the super middleweight and light heavyweight divisions respectfully, to the point where you can say, hey, I'm laser focused on my guy, David Benavidez, really doing what he has to do in order to beat a fighter like David Morrell Jr. Because I'm saying none of the fighters that David Benavidez has faced is like David Morrell. He's had a style that's kind of similar from a boxing perspective there with Demetrius Andre and possibly, Caleb Plant. But the thing with Morrell is, like, he could mix and match. He's a southpaw, could pretty much in different angles, moves very well. It's a crazy mix because, yes, he has that Cuban background. He has the amateur background from that, but also mixes that in with landing power punches like crazy. It's going to be awesome, awesome fight on February 1st. I'm looking forward to it. Ooh, man, I'm out there
Oh,
the entire fight week. It's
Yes,
gonna be
indeed.
crazy.
all
Man,
right, Uncle She.
man,
Break it down for me.
man, I look forward to it too, man. It's like you stated, man. He has a phenomenal amateur pedigree too. That's what gave him that edge to take when he was fighting these guys that had 20 plus fights. So a lot of these guys don't understand, man, the importance of amateur boxing, and especially
Yep.
on the international elite level, as it
Yeah.
as is on. You got guys like him, Lomachenko, and guys like that who can come in the professional game and fight guys with 40 and
Yep.
30 and 20 fights because a good amateur like them, these guys, you got some guys that's good amateurs, but I'm talking about a great amateur. Let me rephrase that. A great amateur can fight, come in the professional ranks and fight a guy with 20 fights and defeat him. So definitely this is an equal playing field, in my opinion. Two powerful guys. I didn't know nothing about him until he fought Fox. That's when I discovered him, when he fought Fox. And then I was like, oh, I was the same way. He only got this amount of fights. But I
Yep.
didn't know his amateur background. And when I saw that and I saw his performance, then I said, wow, this guy's definitely one of them guys. So, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? He one of them
Hey,
guys, you know.
yeah, he's definitely one of them guys. And if you go back to his amateurs there real quick, like a couple of losses that he had were against fellow countrymen like
Yeah,
Julio Cesar La Cruz, and
right, right.
his amateur record is like he's
Yeah,
had almost 300
there we
amateur
go.
fights.
There we go.
So
That's
that's the type of competition that David
Yep.
Morrell Jr. had been facing before turning pro, and that's why he's able to fight for the WBA regular super middleweight title in his third pro fight because of
exactly.
that.
Exactly. And I remember that because people were contesting that. Like, why this guy get a opportunity his third fight? See, they don't know. They got to go back and understand boxing all the
Mm-hmm.
way. Like, even though these guys only have 3 professional fights, they have over 300 amateur fights, and they are fighting. And what gives you that advantage is the international competition and the different styles, the various styles. And not only that, now these young guys that are fighting internationally are getting a chance to deal with it without the headgears.
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they are already accustomed to the punch, even though the gloves are lighter, I mean thicker and more in weight, but they still get accustomed to getting hit without headgear, and so
Yep.
this helps too. But I don't think that was a new thing they just brought back, but still, the future of these young guys going to be accustomed. But yeah, it's going to be a good fight. I mean, my man sees. I wish he was on here. You know, he's a Benavidez fan, hardcore. So I know he would have said something totally
Yeah,
different.
yeah, and it's
All right.
interesting, real quick, because
Mm-hmm. Go for it.
I go on to as they had the whole thing with the betting lines and stuff like that, right?
Yes, sir.
And for this one, the overall money line is close as far as like the plus minus. But if you go into the amount of people who pick someone, those that favor Benavidez, like Benavidez is still like a slight favorite. But the thing is like a high number of people are picking Benavidez, but the ones that are picking Morrell, they are like putting some real money behind David Morrell Jr. So I'm like, like they gotta know something, because
Mm.
you're mentioning there, you're participating in these amateur fights against guys that have been in the amateurs and have 300 professional or 300 amateur fights total, or like Alexander Usyk was, participated in the World Series of Boxing.
Yeah,
So you're facing the elite of the elite
facts.
in these international competitions. So that's how
Mm-hmm.
David Morrell Jr. is able to have these fights against a 22-0 or 26-3, and all that type of stuff with that amount of pro experience while he's only been there under 10 fights. So, hey, next week, that's the thing, man. David Benavidez has to be in this absolute top of his game
He's gonna
for
have to
this
be.
fight.
He's gonna have to be prepared for that boxing IQ too. It's nothing he have ever faced before. Is this is what the guy has gonna have so many tricks and tools.
Yeah.
It's only a few guys I think can deal with those type of fighters, man. And one of them is Bud Crawford, who was able to deal with a similar style of opponent that he last faced was with that amount of amateur experience. He would have beat probably any, in my opinion, at that weight class of 154. The opponent Bud faced could have beaten any of the top five and the other world champions. He could have gave them way much more problems than what Crawford went through. That's how vicious that style of boxing is that he has. You know, those Kazakhstan and Afghanistan, Pakistan countries,
Yeah.
they got those styles, man. It's very hard to deal with, especially when you're used to the American style of boxing. So yeah.
And that's going to be key there with Madrimov as he faces Virgil Ortiz on February 22nd.
Oh yeah.
Ortiz, had someone within that similar type of style, and some folks thought that Ortiz actually lost that fight against Boachuk, but that's a whole nother story.
Wow. Yes, indeed.
All right.
You got it, buddy.
I unpacked all of this that y'all said. So let me seal it. They both have to look in the mirror. And I'm pretty sure they done thought about it. You know that when Usyk and Fury were getting ready to fight each other for the second time, remember that promo where the promo was, it was like a movie. Everywhere they go, they kept seeing each other, like in the people's faces.
Yeah, that was a great promo.
I think this is the same thing. And Uncle She, you could attest to this. In the amateurs, I dealt with this too, with rivalries. It's a different thing when you got to get your mind right for what might take place. This ain't just a normal fight where anything can happen. There are fights where you are never the same. Piece of you will stay there that you will never get back. And that's just how it is. And you have to come to grips with it. There are fights where you look across. I remember my dad, me and this kid was going back and forth. And he had won silvers. He just came home from winning the silvers when we sparred. And at one point, I'm moving my farm and looking at him. And he did the same thing. Almost simultaneously. And at that moment where it was back and forth, it's like he know me better than some of the people in my life right about now. I never forget, years later, I ran into him in the shop and said, "Clint, I'm pulling out here. Hey, I turn up, boy, I parked the car. I'm thinking it's gonna be something. Like, I don't know if he don't like me, still don't like me." So, so I go into the showers and he go, "What's up, boy?" Give me the biggest hug, and then he introduced me to his future. I think it was his fiance. He goes, I said, "Hello, man." She said, "Oh, my name is," and she goes, "I already know who you are. He told me a lot about you." He said that night, he probably knew you better. You probably knew him better than I do from that night. That's the type of fight that this can turn out to be with Benavidez and Morrell. Because just like another example, when Leonard fought Hearns for the first time, people didn't know this, but Emmanuel Stewart talked to Tommy before that fight. He said, "Go back and watch Legendary Nights." He said, "I knew the explosion was going to happen sooner or later. I knew Ray Leonard was much stronger than what people realized. People back in the amateurs, Ray was knocking out everybody in the amateurs, and Tommy wasn't. And then it reversed when they turned pro. Even though Ray was getting his highlight knockouts, but it was." Tommy was just touching you with one hand and it was sleep. Ray was flurrying you and then dropping 3 more bricks on the way to the ground and putting you to sleep. There's a difference. And he said, so Max Stewart knew that he was going to get hurt. And he was talking to Tommy, saying, "This might happen. So you got to be prepared. This is what we're going to do." Right? when you got a guy like David Benavidez break you down and punish you, then you got a guy like Morrell who, when Benavidez hits you, it's a barrage of shots that slowly just breaks you down, and he make it harder and harder to get off the stool. You know
Yeah.
where I'm going?
Mhm.
And Morrell, it's a hard thud on each shot, like a car door closing, to where each shot is making you wonder if you wanna. It's not even 5, 6, 7 punch combinations that's blistering. No, this is 1 and 2 shots,
Yeah.
and he's hitting you, and you going, oh. And then I've seen him hit guys, and it's like a pause, and then they fall. And you get in there, they both have to know and come to terms with, I'm gonna kick his ass, but there's a chance where I can't get stupid. Because Morrell told David Benavidez in Spanish, and I think, matter of fact, he repeated it to him in English to the interview. He said, "Don't make no mistakes. Don't make no mistakes." Now, the reason why I brought up Mugabe and Hagler is because in this scenario, who's Mugabe? Morrell. Because he just hitting you with thudding 1s and 2s, and guys are just game good guys. And then Hagler just break it. Oh God, oh God, just break it. Don't. Where you going? Up, switch up. And that's David Benavidez. He make you fight when you don't feel like, man, I'm in a clinch. Break. All right, I could take a walk. Oh man, he's back on me. And then I just hit him with a 5 punch combination, spin and leave him over there. This man right back on me. That's why it's similar to Mugabe and Hagler. But who remembers, Hagler wasn't the same after that fight. That was the one fight where his wife even said, "Yeah, you look like you finally it's catching up to you a little bit. You're missing a step."
Mhm.
And I say that because this has the perfect storm to see David Benavidez get his, for lack of a better word, get his ass kicked.
Yeah.
This is because if this was at 68, was when he was at 68, yeah, he might kill himself to get to 68 a little bit, but you knew once he hydrated, you like, man, this dude look big as hell. And he throw all these punches. All right. Then first he start throwing like punch. Then, he might blah, blah, blah. Then by the 6, 7, then you start hearing him doing this. And once he started out, now he really getting going. Now he throwing all these punches. But yeah, he looked a little, I felt like he did great. But when he went to 75, people like, oh, here you go, because now he had an even more comfortable weight. Remember, he had to kill himself to make 58. Now he at 75, he really going to be comfortable. And then he fought against the Nail. Who's the Nail? Nail was a world champ. He was
Yep.
the one who was he was winning against Better BF, but just couldn't make it to the finish line. He had, what, 2 rounds to go? And
Uh-huh.
it got to round 9 and sat on the stool and told his coach, I don't think I can make it. So he said, you're winning on all the scorecards. There's 6 minutes left. He's like, I'm trying. And he went out for the tip. One that came back, told him again, yeah, I can't make it. And he was winning. That's the guy who David Benavidez was supposed to have as a tune-up, a welcome to 75. And he was too big a little bit. He was bigger. He was like raw. It was almost, even Benavidez said, man, he was big, man. He was a pretty big guy, game guy, And you already had the perfect storm because David Benavidez was a little sluggish in that fight.
Mhm.
Now everything was as crisp. But of course, it's been some months. He might have acclimated a little better to 75. But you got a guy in Morrell who his pedigree from the amateurs, what do you normally see the amateur Cubans do that always translates with them to the pros? It's not just their movement. Have you noticed you rarely ever see a Cuban throw an uppercut? You rarely ever see a Cuban throw like 6-inch hooks. A lot of their stuff is long shots.
Yeah.
And bah, bah, bah,
Out
bah,
movement.
bah, bah,
Move.
bah,
Yep.
bah. Then they move. Bah, 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 bah. They might throw a hook in between, but nothing is short on the inside sometimes. And that daggone Morrell it's a hard shotgun each time. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. Now, who is to say He gets in there with Benavidez, and the off time, he winds up just messing this whole time. Who remembers when Sugar Shane fought a guy named Vernon Forrest? Do y'all remember what Vernon Forrest said post fight, the first fight? Young fighters, look at me. Shout out to young fighters. This is for y'all. When you get in there with a speed guy, don't worry about it. Work your jab. Just work your jab and they'll throw a speed guy off. And I dealt with that. I was known for my speed. And I got in there with a pro who I knew, yeah, he a pro gamer's respect, but I knew I had overall better skills. Man, and then pros when they working with an amateur, they want you to throw a lot of punches
Yeah, they
to
do.
make them have to work.
Yeah,
That's why they asking you to work with them because
yeah.
you're an amateur. You have to throw all these punches, so that's what they want. And I'm working, man. You got ask Bubbles. If got Lord, man, we got ask Bubbles.
Mhm.
Pop, 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 boom. Every time, then my head doing this as I'm throwing the punch.
Timing.
Every time, my head going up.
That's similar to what when my brother had to fight Rock Allen, the 2000
Oh,
Olympian. He beat
people
him
forget
twice.
that name.
Actually, he beat him 5 times, but my brother beat him 5 times. But the key to victory was he would the way Rock fought, he would throw a lot of punches. He'd just get on you, throw a lot
Yeah,
of
he was shining. Yep, he was shining a lot.
my brother did. My father had him working on this all week in the gym. Was every time he came forward, he would drop the right hand. So as he come forward, soon as he come forward, the right hand comes straight down the pipe. Bop! Every time he come forward, bop! Before he could even get on him, bop! And that was the key to victory. Key to victory. And I think that's going to be the key to victory for Morrell. Is he got dropped them right hands every time, just like Vernon Forrest did Sugar Shane. The right
Yep,
hand on the
Yeah,
pipe.
and oh, go ahead, so go ahead.
he got a dangerous lead right hand, a dangerous
Yeah.
lead
That's
right
where I was about to get to.
and the thing too is like I've been trying to promote the fight, but they've had the thing there with the press conferences and the two things where they do the specials for the fighters, right? And to me, the mental psyche of Morrell is like, dude, I'm here, I'm loose, I'm good. I've been waiting for you. I know that I'm better than you. I'm gonna walk through you. I'm in the gym, I'm dancing, I'm loose and everything like that. To me, for Benavidez, it's like, oh my God, let me I'm gonna walk through this guy. I'm gonna make sure that he that he made a big mistake. Like this is gonna be his last fight. You're never gonna see him again, and he's trying to be like very dismissive of him. But also, it's almost like he's like very angry and irritated. And for me, going into a fight like that kind of gets your focus a little bit off culture. So I want to see how David Benavidez is going into fight week because I'm gonna be there for the press conference.
Oh, you gonna
I'm gonna be
be
there for the weigh-in.
that's
I'm
what's
gonna
up.
see what his mental psyche is because remember they had like the very first press conference. They had the back and forth, right? And then they had the thing with the workout, and in the workout, that's where you saw like David Benavidez step in the ring and then push Morrell, and then Morrell threw the belt at him and
Do
all.
the belt at him.
Man, that was crazy.
And then, like to me, I just didn't understand how to handle it. You had that whole thing go on, right? And then they still had a press conference there, but with those two after all of that. And to me, it was like Benavidez was like, oh my God, look at this guy. I mean, this and this and this. While Morrell is like, hey man, look at this man. RoboCop man. What do you mean by RoboCop?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, look at this man. So
Yeah.
Morrell is like on like a mental state, like good.
He just happy to be there.
He's
Yep.
doing a good job though, man. He's doing a
Now,
good job.
here's the thing. I really believe this fight should be promoted more than what it's been. It should be, but I think those, I really, but either way, that Latino crowd, them Cubans and they gonna be deep in that jump. But to the thing about the skill sets, now we already know Morrell got a solid brick. Now let's say he do this. Boom! Instead of throwing the 1-2, soon as you may throw the 1-2, but then soon as Billy Bear try to slide and then throw his stuff, he dropped a lead right hand and then boom, and then a hard shot. Remember with Bud when he first dropped Earl, it was a brick, it was a 2-1, it was a 21, pop, boom, and it was off timing. Now things got to turn and we got to look at on the perspective of Morrell. Morrell could be loose because, all them amateur fights, all them times in the ring, all that stuff, he could be very relaxed. But let's remember here, let's go to the box rec, shall we? All right. So we're on this box rec. Now, as we look at David Morrell's box rec, he only went to decision twice. He's 11-0, 9 knockouts. And he did go 12. He went 12. He's had multiple 12-round fights because, of course, he won the title. He had 10-round, 12-round. But he had everything under control early. It's much easier to make it 12 when you got things under control. When I've been there. When I remember, I wish my girlfriend was asleep. I'd bring her in. She'll tell you. One of my first sponsors, shout out to Tarax. We went 10 rounds, and I did not sign up for that. I was supposed to work with them. I thought I was going to do 4, and they was going to take my little narrow ass out. I am retired, okay? But anywho, next thing you know, we had 6, all right, cool. Then it went to 8, and I'm still in there. But then we going to do 10. When it got to round 5, I went to the corner, and he buzzed me with one shot. He buzzed me with off timing. It was an off timing shot, and it buzzed me. And I remember going to my girl, she gave me water, and dad like, man, don't work your skills, work your jab up and down. He manipulating the distance. That's what's making him lead. She turned whatever, boom. But I was trying to get tired. They said, you tired? I said, yeah. What I'm gonna do is control. I'm gonna milk. I told her I'm gonna milk rounds 6 and 7, so I could do good in 8, 9, and 10. But it's an art to milking the round and still winning it. It's a different. It's an art to milking around, still winning it. But when you're trying to win the round and you're getting mentally fatigued as well as physically fatigued, it's a difference. Because I've had teammates, and she probably have seen this before, where I've seen fighters get mentally fatigued, and it pushes them to get physically fatigued faster. Because they might have the fight under control winning every round, but just the guy walking to them nonstop, they in shape and everything under control. But because the dude keep coming, now them worrying about it so much, pushing their adrenaline too high, pushing their anxiety too high, and now their physical gas tank is getting lower faster. Then we get to round 8 and they ain't got nothing left. Now they just trying to crawl to the finish line. And let's say that all of a sudden, them punches and bunches are starting to get a little bit too much for Morrell. He's not used to this guy hopping everywhere and in and out. And then every punch, every combination, everything he throws a combination. The lowest thing he throws is 4 shots. At the maximum, he throwing 6 and 8. And and everything is good. It got a good hard shot. Because then you just see, I don't know if you saw this, Uncle Rashid, but Andre Ward was just with David Benavidez and was telling David, all that was nice, but now all of it got to be hard.
Facts.
Now all of it got to be hard. Because my father used to tell me that. He said, man, you might walk out, fight him, get him going, and you might go, pop, 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 real fast. And then you might make him blink and tighten up, or he might blink and pull up, and then pop, pop, boom, boom.
Right. That's how you say
them last 2 be hard, especially if you do this. Boom, boom, boom.
End up doing as well. He has that speed. He has that speed versus power move. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Where he throw multiple shots and then he bombard his opponents with it.
Yep.
But Morrell is smart enough to do angles and give him. So it's gonna be a different fight. It's gonna be a different fight.
Yep. Ebbs and flows. I could see this being a lot of ebbs and flows, but they both got to make a decision of how bad you want this. Because it seemed like he willing to die, then give it to you. Are you willing to do that? Are you? Oh yeah, I'm ready to do this. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm willing to go. And you gotta make that. You gotta really make that decision with yourself,
Right.
and then know that, and then get off that stool. I think I wouldn't be surprised if the ebbs and flow. I could see, for some reason, I could see that happening where they both gotta make that mental decision. But I also could see David Morrell making it look easy because he can't get past that length and that hard shotgun sledgehammer 1-2 on Morrell to get, because you notice Benavidez throw a lot of short shots. And Morrell, what's the best way to get past somebody who throws a lot of punches, but they all short and compact? Throw long shots.
Facts.
Because they gotta get there first. If I don't let you get there, then it don't matter.
Keep him at distance, because if that's his
Yes.
strength in the inside, take it away from him.
But that was
Yes.
the thing there, right? When you pointed out the thing with Spence versus Crawford.
Mm-hmm.
Crawford, right? Within those first 2 rounds, you saw the difference, because even with Spence being a southpaw, but one of the things that is known for with Spence is he builds things off of his jab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
However, Crawford is a guy that can move and basically, wait for what you could do and then respond to that. He's a great counterpuncher, one of the best counterpunchers in the game. But that's one. But number 2 is he had the measurements like that were anomalies in the super lightweight and the welterweight divisions.
True statement.
In this fight, he still had the longer reach than Errol Spence. So in the first 2 rounds, right, Spence was trying to get his jab going and couldn't really get in the range of Crawford. And then there was one point where Terrence Crawford threw the jab right over Spence's jab and was able to land on Spence, while Spence still was like out of range. And then after that was pretty much like said, you know what? I got this in the bag.
True
So
statement.
that's why he was able to, step back and boom, boom, and get the knockdown in the second round and everything, because he knew that he knew where he had to be positioned at in order to be out of range for Spence and then still be able to respond and come back and land whatever shot he wanted to. So that's going to be key there for Benavidez. If he, like they say from a measurement standpoint, that you got David Morrell with a reach at 78 and Benavidez at 74. Let's see how the first couple rounds look if Benavidez throws his jab and starts off with his jab, because in a couple of fights, especially when I was doing film study, he works that jab early and often. Now, if he's out of range and Morrell is able to land successfully with his jab, that's going to be really tough for Benavidez to start off that fight.
Exactly. All right, guys, let's move on. So we're hearing in the news, it's so many topics. I'm gonna let y'all choose what we talk about next. We got Boots maybe finalizing the fight with Stanionis. We're hearing that maybe there'll be a rematch for Devin Haney against Ryan, or Devin might fight Adrian Broner. We're hearing that, and we're also hearing through the grapevine that it might be a double header thing where Devin and Ryan on the same card and they fight different guys, and Ryan supposed to maybe fight Pitbull and things of that nature. We still not concrete from my end. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't been told anything. But, what do you guys think? Whatever topic you guys would like to start on, we're going to let you guys, we're going to let viewers choice. Go for it.
Well, I'll go in chronological order. So first, this has basically been confirmed through Matchroom Boxing and through TGB Promotions, or PBC, whatever it is. April 12th, Boardwalk Hall, Atlantic City, New Jersey, the unification bout between Jerome Boots Ennis and Iamana Stanionis for the IBF, WBA, and Ring Magazine welterweight titles. So this has recently been finalized. And
shucks.
April 12th. Yes, Matchroom. Actually, this was announced Thursday while I was in the middle of a conference call for the undercard of the March 1st about this, happening Saturday. So
mm.
they had announced it, and the thing was that there were a couple of things there. One, you had Iman Stanionis as the WBA champ. He had a mandatory due, but the mandatory fighter is promoted by Matchroom, who also promotes Boots Ennis. So the whole time, what they were trying to do was work out a deal, get some step aside money for who the mandatory was, there for Stanionis in order to make this fight happen. And so they were able to do that. Shakram Gearsov got paid some money, free money.
Oof.
So now we have this unification fight happening at the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City for Saturday, April 12th. So that is definitely a great thing for both fighters, especially for Boots Ennis, who had been getting a lot of criticism, especially after the performance that he had in his rematch against Karen Chicago, and the whole ordeal that was happening at the tail end of last year, which was absolutely there. But at least with this, he has one thing that he wanted to do while being signed with Matchroom Boxing. He wanted to be active, and then he wanted to be able to have the chance to unify in the welterweight division.
That's true.
He is able to do both while securing this fight for April 12th.
That's good. That's good.
What you think on Rashid of that?
Oh, that's gonna be a good fight, man. Boots gonna take that one, man. In my opinion, man, it's gonna take that one.
Before we wrap up, because we're on our way out of here, but man, I really believe though, I give Stanionis a shot. Even though I feel like Stanionis takes too much punishment, he don't mind picking and catching to get to where he want to go to do the damage that he has to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think people are quick to jump on guys, and I feel like Boots was just in there with an awkward style that he was just no matter what, he just could not get it. Like God, I'm even in the amateurs, I rarely ever seen Boots frustrated. And he was frustrated. He was really frustrated. Then he got the hometown thing. He like, God, I don't want my fans to get bored. They come in. I really believe it's a beautiful thing to fight at home, but it also could be the worst thing to fight at home. Because the ones who don't know nothing about what happens in there, I'll never forget. I'm not gonna say the fighter's name, but he said, "Man, I hate when they be like, man, knock this man out, get rid of him." And he said, sometimes you just want to do this timeout. You want to get in here? It's like you want to help me jump this door? Time in. All right, let's go.
Yeah.
Everybody
not going
crazy.
down like that.
Yeah.
That was just a bad style when we talk about Karen, and even in the first fight, because y'all remember where the first fight was, Capital One Arena.
Capital One,
right? And outside of those that showed up to see Tank Davis, there was a good amount of people that showed up to see Boots Ennis.
Showing up.
So they're like, "Oh, this is the first time I'll be able to see Boots Ennis," or they make that short drive down from Philadelphia to see Boots Ennis in that type of atmosphere. And for him to try to make those proper adjustments in order to finish off a guy like Chikadzian was like very interesting to see, especially after he was able to break them down and score a knockdown in the 5th round. But then after that, it was like, it was a struggle for him. And at the same time, even with the movement of Chikadzian, he still was doing things like, particularly in mid-range and in the pocket, that you've seen times where Chikadzian got the best of Boots there in that instance. So for me, in this upcoming fight against Iman Stanionis, like Stanionis, even I wouldn't necessarily say his last fight against Gabriel Maestre, but the one that he had in 2022 against Radzat Butayev, they went
back and forth
for the entire fight. I was there, man. I couldn't, man. That was like one of my better experiences, man. I was there, AT&T Stadium. I was just chilling out, eating nachos before the whole main card was starting. And then they just went at it. And I'm like, man. And that tells you, like, Iman Stanionis, like, he has that, that background being, Lithuanian and stuff like that, but can still, get down and dirty there on the inside. So for this fight coming up April 12th, that's going to be a very, very exciting fight. And I can't wait for that one.
Yes, indeed. Well, y'all guys, we about to call it and wrap it up. The reason why, guys, we're not gonna touch on the Devin thing and the Ryan thing. We used to do a lot of these shows and get stuck on these topics, and nothing really came out of it because nothing was signed in stone to really get going. And then, with Lamar and Tank, that's going to come up even more as we go along, especially once February 1st hit and we're 4 weeks out. So I hope you guys enjoyed it tonight. First, I want to thank you, Uncle She. I want to thank you, Mr. James Boxing Source. Please go follow them, show them love.
Yes,
and
indeed.
Your favorite neighborhood golden boy is out for the night, guys. Y'all all have a good night. See y'all, man. Till next time.
Thank you for coming through, man. Thank y'all, man. I appreciate it,
Heck
man.
yeah.
Shut it down,
Heck
man.
yeah.
Oh, we be back at this again with the full mob soon, though. Then we be
Let's
taking
do it.
calls like the last time too.
Heck yeah. Till next time.
If you're looking for a way to power up your nutrients with a plant-based protein powder, then raw vegan plant-based protein is the perfect choice. This vegan protein is packed with essential nutrients to help you stay energized and healthy. With plant-based protein powder becoming increasingly popular amongst health-conscious individuals, it's no surprise that raw vegan plant-based proteins has become a leader in the industry. Whether you're an athlete or just looking to increase your daily protein intake, this vegan protein powder can help you reach your goals. Visit rawvegan.com. Again, rawvegan.com.